Eric, it's too loud.
Well, good morning, friends. Brave souls going out into the snow and the slippery roads. We gather together in a spirit of kindness and respect and fairness. On this Sunday, where we celebrate the gift of joy, which is a part of our divine human experience. And we're lucky around here to have some young kids that show us how joy is just to be a natural part of our life. Look at the joy there. Just, you know, so let's take a lesson from her and relax and have a good time here today. All right? And the Christmas stories are not sentimental like they're usually presented. They're stories of people in trouble who discover that love is with them and that somehow they're going to get through. And so we're going to start with a song called A Baby Changes Everything.
Teenage girl, much too young, unprepared for what's to come. A baby changes everything. Not a ring on her hand, all her dreams and all her plans. A baby changes everything. A baby changes everything. The man she loves, she's never touched. How can she keep his trust? A baby changes everything. Baby changes everything. And she cries, oh, she cries, oh, cries. She has to leave, go far away. Heaven knows she can't stay. A baby changes everything. And she can feel it's coming soon. There's no place, there's no room. A baby changes everything. A baby changes everything. And she cries, oh, she cries, oh, she cries. Shepherds all gather round. Up above, a star shines down. A baby changes everything. A choir of angels sing glory to the newborn King. A baby changes everything. A baby changes everything, everything. whole life has turned around. I was lost, but now I'm found. A baby changes everything. A baby changes everything.
All right, even the dog liked that one. All right, here we go. So let's all stand. Worship is a time to let go of our burdens for a while. To turn our eyes upward and inward, to realize we're a part of something amazing, a mystery that sees us through. Look what we've gotten through to this point. We're still standing or sitting. We're here. And so we're trading our sorrows today for that joy that knows. Love will always find us, and love will get us through. Okay, give it away. 2, 4. I'm trading my sorrows. I'm trading my shame. I'm laying them down for the joy of the Lord. I'm trading my sickness. I'm trading my pain. I'm laying them down for the joy of the Lord. We say yes, Lord, yes, Lord, yes, yes, Lord. Yes, Lord, yes, Lord, yes, yes, Lord. Yes, Lord, yes, Lord, yes, yes, Lord, amen. Pressed but not crushed, persecuted but not abandoned, struck down but not destroyed. I'm blessed beyond the curse, for His promise will endure. His joy's gonna be my strength. Though the sorrows may last for the night, joy comes in the morning. I'm trading my sorrows. I'm trading my shame. I'm laying them down for the joy of the Lord. I'm trading my sickness. I'm trading my pain. I'm laying them down for the joy of the Lord. I say yes, Lord, yes, Lord, yes, yes, Lord. Yes, Lord, yes, Lord, yes, yes, Lord. Yes, Lord, yes, Lord, yes, yes, Lord, amen. All right, turn and give one another a warm Trinity welcome.
I'll send you with a note. Yeah, it's sort of a Christmas card. Yeah, we went home. That's what he said. He said, yeah. You guys all went to home and had a hit rate. Yeah. So he's got a song that he's given us. Probably going to put on the CD if we do that in the spring. So yeah, it's a really, really nice song there. It's a song about that they wrote for their
Let this candle remind us that the light of Christ is shining in our hearts and can spread from us to others when we live in peace. Amen. Joy to the world.
Joy to the world. Joy to the world.
I know. It's all good.
That's next one.
That makes life worth living. We gather today to be reminded of that. We gather to be reminded that no less than Jesus, our birth was a holy birth. That no less than Jesus, our birth was a divine birth. That you are available to us in the life, what keeps us alive every day. You're like the oxygen we breathe. And you are that capacity we have for love and for hope and for peace and, yes, for joy. To spark joy in us today, spark some joy in everybody who's come here, your people you love so much. We'll be ever so thankful. We pray these things as we remember Jesus and what he taught and how he taught us to pray to you as our mother and as our Father, who art in heaven. Hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. Thank you. You may be seated. So we want to check in with the community. Any birthdays the last week? Yeah. Wow, 87. Happy birthday. We're glad you were born. Anybody else birthday? Yep. Anybody? Okay, how about anniversaries? Any anniversaries? Oh, you got a sister? Well, wish her a happy birthday for us.
It's my son's birthday today.
Oh, cool.
I thought I should get that. He's 32. I don't know how that happened.
Well, happy birthday, Mom. You made it possible.
Right.
There we go. Any blessings anybody wants to share? Marlene, yeah. Come on over here. I got a cap.
I would just like to thank all of the prayers and thoughts for my daughter. She is doing fine now. I did receive your call, Paul, and I just wish you all God bless.
Thank you, Marlene.
Don back.
Yeah.
I'd like everybody to say a little prayer for Harry. Harry had a hip operation and he had 2 big setbacks, and now he's discouraged. So I'd like someone to, if we can all pray for him so he can get his courage back up. Thanks.
Absolutely. And Nelson also, he had to go in the hospital, and some prayers for him. He asked to be remembered.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask for prayers for Faye. Faye's been in the hospital, almost a week with pneumonia. She's home now, but she's still struggling. And the other thing I want to say is I want to offer a prayer of thanks. This morning, Sandy and I, we've been driving together from the Northwest End for about 7 months. And this morning, we had a very, very close call. And I just want to thank the universe, God, whoever was there. Big black pickup truck went through a red light, and we were in the intersection, and we still don't know how he missed us. So I just want to say thank you.
We're glad you're all right. That's fantastic.
I want to send say a special thank you to Marcy, because as everybody knows, we had a flood in the summer, and the nursery was part of what is being replaced. And Marcy was kind enough to donate some mattresses and crib sheets and things like that. So that's wonderful. That helps us get back into the swing of things for the nursery. Thanks, Marcy.
For some reason, the cash cards did not arrive this week. We're hot on the trail of where they are. I've been taking phone numbers of the people who have orders. As soon as we track them down, I will contact the people. If you can wait until next Sunday for pickup, that would be great. Otherwise, I'll see that you get them before then. Thank you.
Paul. Hi, Paul. Guys, next weekend, December the 22nd, on Sunday, we're going to deliver these baskets. So if you have things to come in to go in the basket, can you please bring them by next Sunday? Thanks.
That's our hampers, right? Our Christmas hampers. Wonderful.
I'd like a prayer for somebody, no one here knows him, a friend of mine out in the country. His 5-month-old son has cancer. We had a fundraiser. I think we raised over $6,000. The poor young lad's already gone through 2 chemo treatments, and we're just hoping for the best.
Thanks, Stu. Oh.
This is a good news thing. Starting in January, we will be having 3 teams to lead our hospitality meal. Third one going to be headed up by Dawn. So if you have not helped before and you'd like to, and you don't want to give yourself, committed every month, now you can do it every 3rd month. So come and see myself or Beth after church today so we can get the new team started.
That's great news. What a great bunch of people here. Yeah.
Hi, I just want to say thank you to the gentleman at the bus stop that invited me to this church last night. I'm not sure if he's here or not, but thank you very much.
That's so cool. That's cool. All right. Did you have something to share?
Yeah, I do. I hope you can hear me. Good. I just wanted, we're from a little place, Wingham, when we come down to visit our friends, Bernie and Tina, and just the blessing of friendship, what it means. We've known them a long time, and we feel very fortunate to be here. And the blessing of friendship and family, all these things.
Absolutely. Paul?
Paul
says.
I have a little something. I'd like to stress the importance of keeping in touch with people and staying connected with them. I had a friend that I used to send Christmas cards. Well, every year I send them Christmas cards, him and his wife. And I just got a message on Facebook message yesterday that he got cancer in February and passed away. And she neglected to contact me. She forgot all about it. So I just stress the importance of staying connected with people, and even more than once a year, give them a call, stop in and see them. I know that I'm going to work a lot harder at that myself. So.
I just wanted to welcome Jimmy and his wife Pat. It's their first time here.
I want to bring a couple of things to your attention. They're in the bulletin. At the back, Dave McCutcheon has the complimentary photos for people who did not order pictures, but you get a complimentary picture. Some of the people picked them up yet last week, but there are still a bunch to be picked up. So if you could see Dave after the service to get your picture, that would be great. Next Sunday, the choir is doing a special choral presentation that we've worked on for many, many, many weeks. And it's really coming together. It's beautiful. Really hoping for a good crowd. And also the gift in kind receipts. If you have any gift in kind receipts that you want credit for, please get them into the office as soon as possible. Thank you.
All right, we're going to now move into our time of offering. This is just a free will offering. If it's not in your budget, don't worry about it. We just don't charge fees, so this we pass the hat, and those who can give, and that takes care of things. And as we receive the offering, Kathy and Dale are going to sing for us.
Who knows why we do the things we do, or why I chose to run away from you. But this big city's seen the last of me, and I'll be there, darling, I'll be there. I'll be there Christmas Eve. Darling, don't stop believing. Don't give up hope. Don't you lose faith in me. 'Cause I'll be there Christmas Eve. Years can rush like waves upon a shore, and weave a weary pathway to your door. Of all of our tomorrows come and gone, like evening sunlight and stars before the dawn, can we move on? I'll be there Christmas Eve. Darling, don't stop believing. Don't give up hope. Don't you lose faith in me. 'Cause I'll be there Christmas Eve. Who knows why we do the things we do? I'm so sorry that I said those things to you. Now I can't make up for all the tears you've cried. But I'll be there, darling, I'll be there. I'll be there Christmas Eve. Darling, don't stop believing. Don't give up hope. Don't you lose faith in me. 'Cause I'll be there Christmas Eve. I'll be there Christmas Eve. Darling, don't stop believing. Don't give up hope. Don't you lose faith in me. 'Cause I'll be there. Darling, I'll be there. I'll be there Christmas Eve.
Please stand as we sing our offertory prayer.
Incense, gold, and myrrh, come one and all to own Him, the King of kings. Salvation brings, let loving hearts enthrone Him. Yes, this is Christ the King, whom shepherds come and angels sing. Haste, saints, to bring in God the baby Son of Mary. The people of God said, Amen. All right, we need our readers. We need Scrooge and we need Fezziwig. Come on up.
Let's get ready to read scripture. Follow those directions.
We've been doing little readings from A Christmas Carol. Right. So we thank Scrooge for helping us out. And today, Fezziwig. The ghost stopped at a certain warehouse door and asked Scrooge if he knew it.
Know it? Was I apprenticed here?
They went in at the sight of an old gentleman in a Welsh wig sitting behind such a high desk that if it had been 2 inches taller, he might have knocked his head against the ceiling. Scrooge cried in great excitement.
Why, it's old Fezziwig. Bless his heart. It's Fezziwig alive again.
Old Fezziwig laid down his pen and looked up at the clock, which pointed to the hour of 7. He rubbed his hands, adjusted his large waistcoat, laughed all over himself from his shows to his organ of benevolence, and called out in a comfortable, oily, rich, fat, jovial voice.
Yo-ho there, Ebenezer, Dick.
Scrooge's former self, now grown a young man, came briskly in, accompanied by his fellow prentice.
Dick Wilkins, to be sure. Bless me, yes, there he is. He was very much attached to me, was Dick. Poor Dick, dear, dear.
Yo ho, my boys. No more work tonight. Christmas Eve, Dick. Christmas, Ebenezer. Let's have shutters up. Before a man can say Jack Robinson. Hilly ho, clear away, my lads. Let's have some lots of room up here. Hilly ho, Dick. Cheer up, Ebenezer.
Clear away. There was nothing they wouldn't have cleared away or have cleared away with old Fezziwig looking on. It was done in a minute. In came a fiddler with a music book and went up to the lofty desk and made an orchestra of it and tuned like 50 stomach aches. In came Mrs. Fezziwig, one vast, substantial smile. In came the 3 Miss Figgywigs, beaming and lovable. In came the 6 young followers whose hearts they broke. In came all the young men and women employed in the business. Away they all went, 20 couples at once. Hands half round and back again the other way, down the middle and up again, round and round in various stages of affectionate grouping. Old Fezziwig, clapping his hands to stop the dance, cried out,
"Well done!"
And the fiddler plunged his hot face into a pot of porter, especially provided for that purpose. There were more dances and cakes. There was a great piece of cold roast, but the great effect of the evening came when the fiddler struck up Sir Roger de Coverley. Then old Fezziwig stood out to dance with Mrs. Fezziwig. A positive light appeared to issue from Fezziwig's calves. They shone in every part of the dance like moons. You couldn't have predicted at any given time what had become of them next. And when old Fezziwig and Mrs. Fezziwig had gone through the dance, advance and retire, both hands to your partner, bow and curtsy, corkscrew, thread the needle, and back again to your place, Fezziwig and Cuddy cut so deftly that he appeared to wink with his legs and came upon his feet again without a stagger. When the clock struck 11, this domestic ball broke up. Mr. and Mrs. Fezziwig took their stations, one on either side of the door, and shaking hands with every person individually as he or she went out, wished him or her a Merry Christmas. During the whole of this time, Scrooge had acted like a man out of his wits. His heart and soul were in the scene with his former self. It was not until now, when the bright faces of his former self and Dick were turned from him, that he remembered the ghost. "A small matter," said the ghost, "to make these silly folks so full of gratitude."
Small?
The spirit signed to him to listen to the 2 apprentices who were pouring out their hearts in praise of Fezziwig. "Why, is it not? He has spent but a few pounds of your mortal money, 3 or 4 perhaps. Should he deserve this much praise?"
It isn't that. It isn't that, Spirit. He has the power to render us happy or unhappy, to make our service light or burdensome, a pleasure or a toil. Say that his power lies in words and looks, in things so slight and insignificant that it is impossible to add and count them up. What then? The happiness he gives is quite as great as if it cost a fortune.
And so give them a hand. That's right. So, remember old Grumpy Scrooge we've been talking about? The spirits are working to get him happy, to get him connected, to get him into joy. So what gives you guys joy? What makes you happy? Yeah. Oh, snuggle with your kitties at night. Yeah, that feels good. 3? Wow, that's fantastic. What's something that gives you joy, that makes you happy? That's nice. Yeah, you like sharing a room with her? Yeah, that's cool. That feels really cool. How about somebody else? What makes you happy? Well, you can think about that. What makes you happy there, buddy? Food. There we go. Nothing like some good food, absolutely. All right. So, you know, having friends to play with, having a sister underneath, having cats to connect to, connecting with good people, with kind people, that always is a good time, makes us happy. And also accomplishing things. Isn't it nice to get an exam done? How many more exams do you get to go? When you finish your last exam, are you going to feel a little bit of joy? Yeah, when we finish something, right? And also when we do something that helps somebody else, that we know is important, that we know we've been helpful. That always makes us feel good. You know, buying somebody a coffee, just a kind word when somebody's down. That's what we're here for, so that we can have joy in our lives, even when we have struggles. So we're going to sing an Advent carol now, and you guys get to go with your great leaders. You going upstairs? Going upstairs for a good time at Sunday camp. All right, let's sing together. Hope is a Star. Hope is a star that shines in the night, leading us on till the morning is bright. When God is a child, there's joy in our song. The last shall be first, and the weak shall be strong, and none shall be afraid. Peace is a ribbon that circles the earth, giving a promise of safety and worth. When God is a child, there's joy in our song. The last shall be first, and the weak shall be strong, and none shall be afraid. Joy is a song that welcomes the dawn, telling the world that the Savior is born. When God is a child, there's joy in our song. The last shall be first, and the weak shall be strong, and none shall be afraid. Love is a flame that burns in our hearts. Jesus has come and will never depart. When God is a child, there's joy in our song. The last shall be first, and the weak shall be strong, and none shall be afraid. Thank you. You may be seated. Now our scripture readings.
In Isaiah chapter 35, the prophet tells of better days ahead. The wilderness and the desert shall rejoice and blossom. Like the crocus, it shall blossom abundantly and rejoice with joy and singing. They shall see the glory and majesty of our God, strengthen the weak hands and make firm the feeble knees. Say to those who are of fearful heart, be strong, do not fear. Here is your God. He will come and save you. Then the eyes of the blind shall be opened, and the ears of the deaf unstopped. Then the lame shall leap like a deer, and the tongue of the speechless sing for joy. For waters will break forth in the wilderness, and streams in the desert. A highway shall be there, and it shall be called the Holy Way. The unjust shall not travel on it, but it shall be for God's people. The ransomed of the Lord shall return, and come to Zion with singing. Everlasting joy shall be upon their heads. They shall obtain joy and gladness, and sorrow and sighing shall flee away. And from Luke's Good News, chapter 1, Mary received reassurance from her relative Elizabeth that God is with Mary and will bless her pregnancy. She expresses her joy with these words. Notice how political they are. And Mary said, "My soul magnifies the Lord, and my spirit rejoices in God my Savior. For he has looked with favor on my lowliness, And surely from now on all generations will call me blessed. For the Mighty One has done great things for me, and holy is his name. His mercy is for those who are respectful from generation to generation. He has shown strength with his arms. He has scattered the proud in the thought of his hearts. He has brought down the powerful from their thrones and lifted up the lowly. He has filled the hungry with good things and sent the rich away empty. He has helped his servant Israel in remembrance of his mercy according to the promise he made to our ancestors, to Abraham and to his descendants forever. May the joy expressed in these passages be your joy today.
Spirit of wisdom, minister to us, your people. May only truth be spoken. May only truth be heard, we ask. Amen. So we're talking about joy today. Have you caught on to that yet? Did you sense a theme here today? And joy is a natural part of life. It's a part of what it is to be a divine human being. Like every good thing in life, the measure of joy we enjoy is kind of proportionate to the amount of love we get to share in our lives. We've been reading from A Christmas Carol, a story about a joyless man, Scrooge, who, by cutting himself off from the good people he's known and who surround him, cutting himself off from memories of his old merry boss Fezziwig, cutting himself off from his generous-hearted clerk Bob Cratchit and his winsome nephew, in cutting himself off from these good people, he gets locked in a nasty, temperish, hostile view of life and experience of life. And because one of the main sources of joy are the connections that we share with kind people, with one another. That's why we're here. That's why we have a community here where we're getting to know each other. It's why it's good to get into a small group so you can get to know someone better. It'll increase the joy in your life. It took 3 spirits and a lot of work for Scrooge to have a change of heart. But by the time Christmas morning breaks, his world has been transformed. And the Scrooge of a person he once was is gone, and it's replaced by a joyful man who dances down the street on Christmas Day. Because why? He's discovered that he's grateful for the relationships in his life. And he discovers that he has the capacity to make a difference in a life, especially Bob Cratchit's son's life, Timmy Tin. And when this transformation occurs, it's not because anything physically has changed in his life. Nothing had changed from the time Scrooge went to sleep, but something inside was changed in him. The spirit of love opened his heart. The fact is that isolation diminishes our spirits. It shrivels us up. Isolation robs us of joy. Nothing is sadder than seeing a child who has no friends to play with, no circle of connections. It makes them angry and depressed. The reason our young people today are more depressed than any time in the history of the world, the reason why there's so much depression and anxiety, even though they give them antidepressants, is because our young people, in fact, most all people today have never been so isolated as we are today. 75 years ago and before, in the whole history of the world and in many rural places today, there are 75 to 150 people who know you, who know everything about you for better or worse. They know the stupid things you did when you were a kid, but they care about you. And the way life used to be is if your mom was sick, every day there'd be people at work, people everywhere you go say, "How's your mom? How's your mom? How's your mom?" What they're saying is, we care, we care, we care. We got your back, we got your back. That doesn't exist today. Kid growing up today might be lucky if they have, 5 to 10 adults in their life that really know them and care about them. And they're getting sick. Isolation kills us. We shrivel. Children who make friends easily have lives filled with joy. Young children don't care about all the prejudice and biases that adults do. When you watch kids play together, you hear peals of laughter, and then you'll hear bump, and then they'll cry, and then a few moments later they're laughing again. Kids have that ability to be open to joy, be open to connection. Adults, we often feel like we have to protect children from sad things like the death of someone they love. I always feel so bad inside when parents won't let their kids go to a funeral. It's just so awful. The fact is, children can handle things better than adults. They just need to be explained things lovingly and simply. They need to be reassured that love is forever. The one who died, that their love will always be with them, that they'll always be connected. Yes, they'll cry, sob even, but they'll be laughing again before you and I will. They don't get stuck in the pain like adults do. Jesus said we have to be more like children, be more able to experience joy. And so how wonderful are those moments of joy that do come to us unbidden? You know, moments like someone sharing a simple story or making a joke that just kind of catches us and has us in stitches. I remember in Aurelia, my back used to go out when I was younger, but once a year. When it froze, you know, if I moved at all, it just was so painful, and it would take about 5 or 6 adjustments over 2 weeks to kind of get me moving again. So this happened about Friday, and I phoned someone Saturday to cover for me at the church because I didn't think I could preach. And Saturday night, Sue said something, and we got laughing, and it was one of those laughs, belly laughs, where you just can't help yourself, and the tears are pouring down her face. And lo and behold, by the time we were finished laughing, my back was fixed, right? It had worked the problem out. So laughter is a great medicine for body and for soul. Of course, people who've struggled already know that. I mean, the funniest people in the world are the people who have the greatest financial struggles. I mean, who are the funniest people in Canada? Newfoundlanders? People from up north? That's how humans have struggled. Always making jokes about the king and how nasty the king is, and making jokes about this and their boss and everything else. It's how you get through. The most uptight people in the world are people who grew up rich. I mean, they don't have a sense of humor at all. The only ones that have less of a sense of humor than them are dictators and control freaks. They hate jokes. They don't like you joking around. No. The people have always known, who needed it the most, that humor was available to them. There was joy to get them through. And our greatest joy is the joy of being loved. What a great treasure that is. Having friends. Having good people that we can hang out with, and also in our spirituality, realizing that the gift of we didn't create ourselves, we didn't invent life, we didn't invent love. Whatever that source is, I don't care what you call it, goddess, magic, grace, what's Star Wars call it, the force, right? I don't care what the name is, the reality is that this thing we call joy and love and hope and peace, that's a gift to us. It's a river of the universe that we can bathe in if we're just aware of it. And so when we experience our losses, we can know that, well, yeah, we've lost that person, we've lost this thing, but the river never goes dry, friends. The universe never goes dry with the grace and the support and the love we need. Love will find us. We can have that hope when we realize it's connected to the source. And we need to be a people of joy. I read a compelling story by an aid worker. And she was in Honduras working in a refugee camp. And when she saw the squalid poverty, like she'd never seen before, she was just depressed. She was despondent. She'd kind of given up on the human race. And it was a night where there was a big fire going, and all the kids and the adults were dancing around it. And one of the elders came over and says, "Why don't you join us?" And she says, "Well, I'm just so sad." She says, "Like, how do you guys live? Like, this is just so awful." And the elder said to her, "In this refugee camp, there are 3 committees. There's an education committee, so we can help educate our kids as best we can. There's a maintenance committee, make sure the sanitation's happening and fixing things as best we can. And we have a committee de allegro, a committee of joy." Because he said, unlike you get to go back to the States, to your fancy life, the only way we survive is to make sure we have joy in our lives. Hey, say that's the attitude. That's what we're talking about. A committee of joy in that refugee camp. Yeah, love it. That's the purpose of joy. Joy is the grease that keeps the engine of duty from seizing up. We need to make space for this connection for joy with people of goodwill, or we'll burn out. We need that connection. And you know, another way we get that joy is by accomplishing something. You know, like I was finishing exams, or you got a woodwork project, and you're working on it, and you're working on it, and finally it's done. It just feels so good. You just look at it, and you feel good, right? What's a great project too. If our project is linked to making the world a better place, then we get double the joy out of it. I mean, that's the joy we get for caring for our kids. We believe in their potential. We believe in their future. And so we invest and we sacrifice. And as they grow up and become kind, we feel the joy. We need to let ourselves feel the joy. Sometimes we keep looking for the problems. But man, we got to look at the joy of it all. Feel that satisfaction. Feel good about that. Feel joy at buying somebody a coffee. Feel joy at saying a kind word. Anytime we do that sort of thing, give ourselves the joy. And the joy in knowing that the universe is on the side of the poor and the oppressed and those who are struggling. Isaiah makes it clear. Isaiah says, strengthen the weak hands. You got weak hands today? God's on your side. Make firm the feeble knees. You got some feeble knees around here. I know we do. Well, Christmas is about you too. Strengthening those feeble knees. Say to those who are of fearful heart, be strong, don't fear. Same thing with Mary's song. You know, we make the reading we read today of Mary is the oldest Advent hymn, the most passionate, most vehement, most revolutionary Advent hymn ever sung. The true Christian story is not a gentle, sweet, dreamy Mary that we see portrayed in pictures. No, the real Mary is a real Mary whose life is at risk. She could be stoned for being pregnant without a husband. But she is proud and powerful and passionate, and she's enthusiastic. She sees past the pain and the dangers of her pregnancy. She sees the joy of knowing that her child is a divine gift, as we can see that same joy, knowing that every child is a divine gift. That's what Christmas is about. That's the meaning of Christmas, that God comes to earth in the birth of every child, and that being a part of helping every child have a better life gifts us with joy. I'm going to finish with a story that's made me filled with joy. And it's something that's only possible because of you and because of Mount Zion. 3 years ago, just after I started Mount Zion, the strangest thing happened. Now, Mount Zion is set back in a dead end. You couldn't find it unless you're looking for it hard. And somehow, some way, a homeless guy from downtown London ended up at the door of Mount Zion United Church. That alone was a heads up to me that I better pay attention to him, because the angel of the Lord often comes in need. And those people who come in need, they're Jesus. So we better care for them. We better be good to them. And so he said, I need some time in my phone card. And there was something about this guy, I'll call him Bob. There's something about this guy I really liked. He wasn't an alcoholic, he wasn't a drug addict. He was on the streets. But he also bugged me. There's something about him that bugged me too. But anyway, we got him some time for his phone. And I took him to McDonald's to get something to eat. And then I told him about Trinity, because I knew that was closer to where he normally hung out. And he'd show up here at Trinity, bugging Kathy and me every once in a while. And I said to him, listen, I found out he's on ODSP. And so that told me he had a mental illness. And I figured paranoia was part of it, because the guy was really paranoid. And like for a year, he was paranoid with me. And I kept saying to him, listen, buddy, I'm the best chance you got, right? Like, you're going to get farther with me than anybody else. So if you can't get help from me, right, you're not going to be getting any help. And after about a year, he started to trust me. He needed to go somewhere in a long trip, an hour there and back. Dick drove him, right? Oh, yeah. People around here, we help out. That's what we do. And so I said to him, I said, you're an ODSP. That means you can get $1,200, $1,300 a month and have a place to stay. Now, he only gets $600 a month because they don't pay you money for housing unless you have housing, right? And I said, here you are, sleeping in the streets, doing it. Like, I said, when you let me know who your caseworker is and allow me to talk to your caseworker, I'll find you a place to live. It was the end of the second year that he trusted enough to where he let me talk to his caseworker. And she said, oh yeah, we'd love to have him in a place. We got the money to pay for it. And then it just so happened, as Spirit works, that I met a friend of a friend. And we were talking, and lo and behold, this guy was an alcoholic, and his son was an alcoholic. And he became sober, and he's worked with his son. His son's doing all right now, but his son had some real heavy addictions. And this guy has such a heart for wanting to pay it forward, for wanting to help others, that he owns and runs a rooming house on Hamilton Road in addition to his regular job at the car plant. So he's got a rooming house. He rents rooms to 16 men. He only charges from $330 a month to $400. He includes in that a TV, internet, and cable. He said making sure they have those things keeps them off the street and keeps them out of all kinds of trouble. The guy's unbelievable. So I said to him, listen, when you got a room, I got a guy for you. And so last week he called me. He has a room. I phoned Bob, and I said, Bob, I got a room for you. He says, go away, really? I says, yep. It's got cable, TV, internet, it's furnished. The guy even has sheets for the bed. And it's got a little fridge in it, got a lock for your door. And he said, that's great. And I started to cry. Because Monday at 10, a miracle's happening. A guy who's been living on the streets for 3 years is going to have a place to sleep. It's going to be safe. And that makes the frustration and the grumbling when he leaves all worth it. Because we are created to make a difference. But that difference can only be created when we come together like we do. If Trinity didn't exist, if Mount Zion didn't exist, he wouldn't be off the street Monday. That's what the magic's all about. That's what Christmas is all about. And so I'm inviting the quartet to come up. They're going to sing that old carol, Silent Night, Holy Night. And as they sing it, I want you to just kind of close your eyes and go to that deep place within and connect to the force. Connect to that energy that creates us, that sustains us. To let go of our burdens, to let go of our illusions of control and realize that we're not in this alone. We've got a whole community here. And God will send us people to help us, and God will send us people to help. Because on that silent night, that holy night, when we were born, the angels sang too. And God promised that love would never let us go, not in life, not in death, not in life beyond death. Ever. Silent night, holy night.
Oh
great Spirit of love, we give thanks that Jesus taught we weren't sinners. Jesus taught we were precious, beloved children. Jesus called you Daddy and invited us to call you Mommy and Daddy too. Help us to claim our goodness. Help us to know that you come to us through the kind people we can make friends with. You come to us through the people we can help, the people that help us. Help us to make space in our lives for joy. Help us to make space for hope, for peace, all that stem from that kindness and love. You've given us so much. To be a human being is to be divine. Help us to just live in awe and gratitude for our capacity to make choices that will bless us and bless the world. Help us to make every day a Christmas. We ask in the name of Jesus. Amen. Well, a good day today. I'm going to finish with an old carol. Shepherds we have heard on high. I think that's what we're doing.
We're doing Angels We Have Heard.
Angels we have heard. Yeah, not shepherds aren't on high. I got things upside down there. Angels we have heard on high. All right. And thanks to the Hales Angels.
Sweetly singing always, and the mountains everywhere.
remember what Scrooge discovered, that we have the power to render people happy or unhappy, to make our service light or burdensome, a pleasure or a toll. It lays in the power of our words and looks, in things so slight and insignificant, it's impossible to count them all. The happiness we can give is as great as if it cost a fortune. So take with you the blessing of the source that enables you to love and be loved. Jesus Christ, who lived out that love in human form, and the Holy Spirit, the power within us to change the world around us this day and every day of our lives, world without end. Amen.
Jesus lifted me. I'm so glad Jesus lifted me. I'm so glad Jesus lifted me. Singing glory, hallelujah. Jesus lifted me. Life had me down, but Jesus lifted me. Life had me down, but Jesus lifted me. Life had me down, but Jesus lifted me. Singing glory, hallelujah. Jesus lifted me. I was in trouble. Following you now. Following you now. Jesus lifted me. When I was in trouble. Jesus lifted me. Singing glory, hallelujah. Jesus lifted me.